Hey, it's Joe Amoia, the Ambassador for Love, and I've got a great video for you. This is one of those multiple watchers. You're going to have to go back and watch this at least 2 or 3 times. So today I want to talk about the two things you may be doing which are actually working against you. Now, what's really interesting about these things is that you probably aren't even aware that they're going on. Or if you are, you do understand that they're going on. You just don't know what to do to fix them. So what I found is if you're struggling in your love life, and it's been like that for a while, one of these two things are going on. And the first thing is that you've got a mask on, and I'll explain what that is in a second. And if you don't have a mask, what you're probably doing is you've got a suit of armor. So let me explain. When we wear masks in our life, it's because we're afraid of people seeing us for who we really are. We're afraid that we're not good enough. And so we think we've got to be or do things in order to make people like us or fall in love with us. So there are some indications that you may be wearing a mask. And what I found is there's really what I call the top three. And the first is you just have sex way too soon. You think that, if I sleep with this guy and show him how great I am in bed because that's so important to me, then he's going to fall madly in love with me. Well, unfortunately, I've got news for you. Here's a news flash. I really hope you're sitting down. Just because a guy sleeps with you and has sex with you doesn't mean he's going to fall in love with you. I'm sure this isn't anything new, but I really want you to get this through in your brain. It doesn't make, you can shoot sparks out your ass. It doesn't make a difference how great. That will be cool for a little while, but love is based on so much more than that. And again, we've talked about the boys and the men more time than we need to. You want to find a man. That's the guy who's looking for love. And the second kind of mask is that you're afraid to say no. A guy will say something and you think, well, if I say no, he's not going to like me or he's not going to want to be with me. You know what? It's really dangerous because you've got to be true first and foremost to yourself. And that leads us to the third most common mask. And that's you're afraid of being honest, most importantly with yourself. Because to have a relationship, you've got to be your real you. You've got to show up like that from day one. So if you can't be honest with yourself, not to mention a man, how can you have the kind of relationship you really want? And this is one of those things that us men kind of get pissed about, is because you say and do things which aren't really true, and then we find out about it, weeks, months, years later. And then you let us know like we're supposed to figure it out. Us men, we're stupid. I'll be completely honest about that. So you've got to take off the mask. You've just got to show up as you. And again, the right guy is going to love you for you. Now, if there's some stuff going on and you don't feel good enough, you don't feel worthy enough, you might want to work on that first and clear that up, and then go find the right guy who's going to love you for you. Now, the second most common thing that I see happen that may be working against you is you've got this suit of armor. And, that's pretty self-explanatory. You've got this impenetrable layer that no man can get through. And so there are some indications of this as well. So one of the first ones that I see is that you tend to pick the wrong men, the guys who are emotionally unavailable. And there's a reason with this, because see, your unconscious mind is really, really clever. You figure that, what, if I pick the wrong guys, the guys who are emotionally unavailable, yeah, I may never get what I want, but you know what, I'm never going to get hurt. I'm never going to get my heart broken. I'm never going to get crushed again. And this goes back to because sometime in your life, usually way back into your childhood, you really loved, you played full out, and somebody ripped your heart out, and they just shredded it into pieces. And the emotional pain of that experience was so bad for you that even though you say you want a good man and a good relationship, you're not willing to be that vulnerable ever again. So that's something you might want to pay close attention to and really check in on. And the second thing is that, if you do find a good guy, what happens is you run away. You get scared because you see, what, this guy might actually penetrate your arm. He actually may get through, and that leaves you completely vulnerable, and that scares the hell out of you. Or you do something to actually drive him away. You ever had an experience where everything's going well, and then all of a sudden you nitpick on something or you focus on something and you go on the attack? Well, you might want to be cognizant of that. That's something that might be working against you. And the third one, and this is one that really happens in the unconscious mind, is you tend to live in the past. Okay, something bad happened. And again, this doesn't negate the stuff that's happened. I'm not saying that some bad things haven't happened to you, but you tend to focus on that and you don't let go of it. It's kind of like dragging you back. And because you're focused on that and the experience of whatever went on for you, it's hard for you to open up again. Okay. And so you use that as a suit of armor. It's because, you know what, I got screwed before. And maybe it happened more than once. It's very common in life in this on the road to love. We we have multiple accidents. We can kind of call it that. And so we don't get to experience what it is that we truly desire. And so the emotional pain of those experiences, especially if there's more than one, tend to build on each other and to get so strong that there's a part of us that's simply afraid to really go full in. And that's one of the scary things about love is you've got to be willing to literally open yourself up and to open your heart up again. And so very often when we have that pain, it causes us to put on these suits of armor. So what I'd like you to do is really take a good look in the mirror and say, do I have a mask? Do I have a suit of armor? And where did this come from? Because that's how you really get to the root cause of this, to start exploring. First you've got to be aware that you've got a mask, you've got a suit of armor, or maybe you've got both. And really start looking at that and then say, okay, how do I learn to take off the mask? How do I learn to take off the armor in a healthy way? Because the reality is you don't just want to jump out into the world and really fully express yourself to the wrong guys, because there are some dirtbags out there who will take advantage of you, who will manipulate you, who will lie, who will cheat, who will do all these crappy things that cause you to put these masks and the suit of armor on. So you want to be able to do that in a healthy way. So I'd love to hear from you. After watching this video, I want to know, what is it that you've got going on? Is it a mask? Do you notice you've got a mask? Or do you notice that, you know what, I think I've got this suit of armor on? And because again, the first step towards rehabilitation is realization. So you've got to realize something's going on before you can fix it. And the purpose of this website and these videos is to really help you get to the cause. This isn't about wearing your hair a certain way and batting your eyes, and what you're going to text. It's not about that. Okay, it's about you showing up and being the true you from day one, and finding the guy who's going to love, value, and respect you for that. But here's the thing: if you don't own it inside, you're going to be putting that out, and you're going to be attracting the wrong kinds of guys. So, as always, I'd love to hear from you. What is it that you found? Is it a mask? Is it a suit of armor? And what can you do to take that off as you go forward? As always, it's an honor and privilege to be with you. I'll see you next time. God bless.